Okay, so let's continue with what we have. I'm going to talk a little more about the malicious software that people use. So we need to know these terms really well, and these are some of the terms that might come in the final exam. So I want you to listen to this properly, and then I want you to understand and read the book, and then make sure that you understand this really well. So the first thing is malware. Malware basically, or malicious software. Malicious software, an umbrella term, which is basically for a lot of things. So malicious softwares can be, which will include mobile device malware, social network malware. There are other multiple malicious softwares that are being introduced by various people around the world to create problems, basically, and to create confusion and to extract information, basically. So, malware or malicious software is a program, is a software, okay, that is harmful to systems. They are very hostile, they are very intrusive. Um, the intention of these malicious software is not a good one. They seek to invade or damage or disable computers or computer systems or networks, tablets, mobile devices, so on and so forth. So, how they do this is the malicious software takes control over a device's operations. Okay, it's like a human flu. So, when you have a flu, it interferes with your normal functioning, it takes over your body. The virus takes over your body, and it pretty much does a lot of bad things to you. And that's how these malware softwares are. Okay, so malware is always about making money of you in an illegitimate way. Okay, and the next thing is virus. So virus is a malware. It's a malicious software. Okay, a virus or a computer virus is a type of malware, and what it does basically is somehow it gets into your system. Like, for instance, you have an email and you click on something in the email, and that content of the email basically has a software that is introduced into your system when you click on it, right? So once you click on it, that malicious software enters your computer system. Now, after inserting a copy of itself, what it does is it spreads from one computer system to another, or from one computer software to another, and it leaves, it basically infects every system that is possible. So, viruses can range in severity from simple annoying effects like the movement of the monitors and things like, or the words on the monitor and things like that, or it can damage data, or it can cause denial of service, and so on and so forth. Okay, so the virus basically is something that it basically infects a system and then takes over the system. Okay, worms, on the other hand, are similar to virus, okay, but it replicates itself. What it means is when you download a software, and if that software has got a worm in it, what it does is it replicates whatever is a bad thing, maybe something like deleting a file. So it deletes every file by replicating itself. Or it goes into each file and replicates itself and then deletes the contents. Okay, so it replicates and propagates. That is the difference between a virus and a worm. So both of them are malware. Virus is more like infection and it takes over, whereas worms get into the system and they replicate and propagate and create damage. Then you have let me go to the next page. Then you have what is called a Trojan horse. A Trojan horse, it is basically, you remember in the old the story of Homer's Troy, the Iliad. In Iliad, the Greeks actually take a horse, a wooden horse. They go into Troy and they leave the wooden horse with people in it. And these Trojans look at the horse and say, "Well, we have a nice gift from the Greeks. So let's have, they're all gone. All these guys are gone now. So let's celebrate." So as they were celebrating, people came out of the Trojan horse and plundered and killed a lot of people in Troy and captured Troy, basically. Okay, and that's how this one works. A Trojan horse is a malicious software that comes like a simple message to you, or a simple email to you, or a simple Word document to you. And when you open it, it takes over the computer. Okay, then you have SQL injection attacks. SQL injection attacks. These are some of the examples of these SQL injection attacks. Or it retrieves hidden data. Okay, so basically it injects into the database, which we will learn later on about how to do SQL and all that later on. But it basically injects itself into the database and retrieves hidden data. It modifies the SQL query itself to create havoc with your data so that you get wrong answers, basically. It basically changes the application logic. It can change a query to change the application itself, and it can pretty much it causes problems in retrieving data from your database. That's basically the SQL injection attacks. Okay. The next thing is ransomware. Ransomware basically is a type of malicious software that these cyber criminals use to block you from accessing your own data. So basically, they can hold your data as hostage and demand money. Okay, and then until the ransom is paid, they won't release the data. So there are a lot of people who do this. And so companies have to pretty much, or organizations have to pretty much, or homes have to pretty much look at these kind of problems or malicious software and then cope up with that by doing the right things. Then there are spywares. Spywares basically can be adwares and things like that you might have heard of. So it comes as, it comes like an ad, and you'll see more and more ads basically. Spywares are not that of a problem, but it is an annoying thing because it can have more and more of these ads coming up, or it can reset the browsers, it can slow computer performance, and these are all because of spyware. And usually there is a software called let me go back, the software called Malware bytes. So this is a very effective software that you can use. It is free to a certain point, but you can use this Malware bytes basically to get rid of all these adwares, and that can improve your computer performance. Because spyware, basically what it does is to take up the memory. So when you take up a lot of memory, then you don't have memory to work with, so everything is slow. That's where the problem comes in most of the computers. So you need to use Malware bytes, which is a software which is free, and that can help you to get rid of these spywares. Okay, so the next thing that I want to talk to you about is the difference between a hackers and a cracker. So basically, simply I can say that hacker is someone who identifies the flaws in the security systems in an organization and works to improve those flaws and take things from there, or take data and things like that. Whereas a cracker is the cracker exploits highly sensitive information and uses those flaws in the security system to his advantage. Okay, so in other words, you can say that hackers are constantly looking for the flaws in the computer system and the internet security of organizations. And their sole aim is to rectify these flaws and improve the security of the content. So hackers are good people, right? Now, crackers, on the other hand, these are awful guys. Their main purpose is to break the security and take things away. Activities include system intrusion, system damage, and of course, cyber vandalism and all that stuff. Okay? Hackers and computer crime is basically, it consists of many of these things. One is the denial of service attacks that we talked about. Then there is a distributed denial of service attacks. That means not only in one computer, but it is in a distributed way to other computers out there as well. Then there are spams that you can think of. There are spams that you can see from emails and so on and so forth. Uh, Now, botnets, the word bot comes from robot. Okay, so botnets are automated processes that interact with networks. Okay, so people can actually have automation or software that can automatically go into sites and create an havoc. So that is the reason many websites have these bots that are challenging bots. That basically what they do is to give you some kind of a picture and tell you, hey, what that picture is, and that kind of thing. So by this method, the website can find out whether it is a human being or whether it is an automated thing. That's the whole idea. So these botnets basically can be used for a good thing or even a bad thing. Okay, so botnets can be used as worms, can be used as viruses. They can have the properties of both virus and worms. And there are other things that you can use botnets for home electronics and appliances to increase automated attacks as well. So these are some of the things that you can see of computer crimes and computer attacks, basically. In many instances, employees can be a threat. Employees of an organization can be a threat. In many instances, we have seen that security threats often originate inside an organization. There are people who have inside knowledge of the computers who can be maybe one of a rogue employee who has been asked to leave can create a problem. The employee knows everything. He knows the inside. He has the inside knowledge of the computers, and that rogue employee can create a problem. And also sloppy security procedures and the lack of knowledge of the users of the employees can be a real big problem as well. And we need to do a lot of social engineering, and both end users and information system specialists are sources of risk as such in internal threats. So let me continue this with the next video.